And is it just audio?
No, it's going to be, we're live. We're now
Okay,
We are
seen by
live now.
everybody. All
beautiful.
right, everyone. This is Diane Finnestead Ellis and also Edith Voiles, my operations assistant. And we're in St. Louis, Missouri today. And then we also have Michael coming to us. Where are you today?
Glenview, Illinois, suburb of Chicago. This is our
Chicago.
main office in Illinois.
The main office. Tell me
Yes.
how to properly pronounce your name. I've done it in so many different accents. I think I've even done it in French for you.
No, no worries whether you get it correct or not. But it rhymes with the girl's name, Wendy.
Wendy, like
So Gende.
Gendy.
There you go, Gende.
Oh, I
Yes.
finally got it.
And it's
Oh
and
my
it's a
gosh.
hard G, Gende.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, why is that harder than my last name? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but literally in my entire life, I mean, probably 10 times has somebody gotten the name Gandhi correct the first time by just seeing it. So yeah, it's
Really?
very unusual. It's always Gandhi, Jendi,
Yeah.
Genda. Yes, it's yeah. Who
Sometimes
knows? But I
sometimes you
don't
say it
care.
Henry,
Yes.
but like it's an
I
H.
know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always say Gende.
Yeah.
That's
But
not
no,
bad. I like
it's
that.
like Wendy Jindy. I got
Yeah.
it. So
But
now
not Jendi, but Wendy Gendi. Hard G.
Hard G.
Gindi.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Excellent.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
I
so glad.
know.
Okay, I'm glad you have a first name, Michael.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, folks, I want you to know this is our broker leader. That's exactly what we call you. What is your official title?
Sales manager. We're not
Okay.
big. Yeah, we're not big on titles here. We're big
I
on taking care of clients.
I call you the leader.
There you
So,
go. That
so you
works.
have to know when I tell you guys some funny stories about Michael throughout the years. Oh my goodness. When I'm sitting down at the table, I'm like, I've gone to his training. This is exactly word for word what's come out of his mouth. But as we have Edith with us just for a few minutes before she's got to go in and enter some policies
Right.
today for GTL. For GTL. Imagine that.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
a couple, maybe six. I have no idea. So anyway, I want Edith to share with everyone how we go through the process of helping our clients beyond what's expected. And that is that we offer a courtesy of sending in the claims. And we don't process the claims by any stretch of the imagination, but we send them in so we can advocate and follow the claim, make sure that you have received your reimbursement. We don't have to be involved, folks, and we're going to show you how to fish, but you can have lean on us, and we can send in those reimbursements either with the home health care plan, the hospital indemnity plan, and also the cancer precision cancer plan. And it's not reimbursements we send in so that you get the reimbursement. We send in the receipts, or we actually help you with providing claim forms as well as many other things. Edith, please share with us what we need to keep in mind, what the clients need to keep in mind when they send us their stuff. You had a piece of advice about.
Sure. Just we process, we always say we process. We don't process. We will send in the claim for you to GTL. Usually I send in things to them through email or fax, either way. And then I keep a copy of everything that we sent in, and we keep it in your file. And that way, if a question does come up, where there's something that didn't go through right, or they needed more information, then we have a copy of what was sent in, and we can help you, see what, maybe where the disconnect was, or what GTL was missing. And we can help, in that process, or even, and if they decide that, you want to send in for yourself, which we do have some clients that do. If you just would want to send us a copy of whatever you sent in, and that way, if a problem does arise, then we can see what's been sent in, and we can help, follow that claim, help make sure that what was sent in was correct, or what GTL needed. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 8 years now for Diane, and sending a lot of
She's still there,
sending
folks.
a lot of sent in a lot of prescription receipts to GTL, boy. And by and large, I will say, and I'll say this in front, you are my favorite company that she writes for.
Oh,
Thank you.
You just are, right? And you know,
the
and
consistency of excellence
yes,
is
the
there.
consistency is there. And you know, it's not ever really hard to get somebody on the phone right away to talk to if we need help or whatever. It's always very good. I don't ever, and it is the best company that it's my favorite because I always know that there will be somebody there to help us if there's something the matter. So I'll say that, but, and it is,
Say it too.
what's the truth? And, yeah, and that way we have a copy of it and
it is really important to have a copy of it. You think, oh, well, I've already sent it in. I don't need to send it over to, Diane's office for Edith to have a copy. But what happens is the call comes in or the text comes in and it's an SOS text. And all my clients know SOS means when we turn our phone over and we see 35 phone calls on my phone and on Edith's phone, it is one where we see SOS and we're like, okay, we have to call them back first. There is a problem. And so some of the SOS texts that have come in have resulted from people saying, well, I'm going to do this on my own and I'm going to send it in. And I encourage you to do that, but just keep us in the loop. Don't just reach out to us and say, hey, I got a letter and I don't understand it. Oh, now we don't have any point of reference. And so we want a copy of that GTL letter. And if you send that to us, we usually can go through and look at all of the nature of the insurance language and say, this is what they're really saying. And then we might look at the exclusions page and see what is it that they are kind of thinking this could be the situation. Are you falling into a crack where they need to know a little bit more information from a doctor, that this was a medically necessary treatment, that this was a medically necessary service, that this wasn't elective, this was not a cosmetic decision, this wasn't a result of you just saying, I'm going to go party it up one night and then I'm going to make a claim on GTL. Woo woo. You can't do that, folks. You got to let us know what's really happening. So all of that communication helps us advocate for you. So Edith has a few phone numbers that are really important to have.
So the customer service line is 1-800-338-7452. And that is a great number. It's usually, I know there's a couple times a week that they're closed in the middle of the day for lunch, like from 12 to 1. And then I know on Friday, the office does close at noon. But other than
We're
that,
jealous.
right? Yes. But other than that, they're usually answer the phone within less than 5 minutes every time I call. Very rare. I can throw one thing in. Between December and January, it is
open.
I believe
the annual enrollment
it is your
period.
busiest time of the year. And I will say this, I know sometimes claims do take a little longer during that time, but it's just because I'm sure that you guys are, the GTL is flooded, and whatever. But even that, it's still not exorbitantly long, but it will, but since they're usually so fast, when it slows down and during that time, I have some people that ask me, they say, where's my stuff? And I'm like, well, I'm sure they're working on it,
They're working on it.
Doing their diligence as fast as they can. So yeah.
So I will also say this, that for the longest time, I was jealous that they were closed at noon on Friday. And I assumed that they were closed, that they were going home.
No.
I didn't know that Friday was the catch-up day for everybody. So they turn off the phones and they say, okay, what needs to be done before we can go enjoy our weekend? I think that is the greatest thing. We might adopt it. Folks, this might be coming to a town near you. We like it a lot. So hopefully all those numbers help.
And with the fax.
Yeah, fax number.
So the fax, if you're going to fax in claims yourself, you would fax it to 1-847-699-1048. And let me say it one more time. The fax for claims 1-847-699-1048.
And some of you are wondering, well, how can I get those numbers? All the numbers for the main policies and the main companies that I sell are going to be on my website as of the goal is next week. So if anyone says, hey, I need that customer service number, or you forgot your card with the customer service number on the back of it, or anything like that for any plan, whether you have GTL or another plan with me, they're all going to be on the website. Now they're updated, from time to time, but that's one of our goals for next week. Our other goal is that you will have claim forms that are going to be available to you. So I'm holding up the short-term home health care claim form. And then I also have in here the claim form for the hospital indemnity. Now, the claim form for the hospital indemnity, that one is probably the most comprehensive. And that's also here too. So you can see it gives you the address, it gives you all of the above, and you'll be able to go on the website. There'll be a separate little section for GTL, and you can just download this claim form and look at it. And it's something where if you are filling it out, you can always call us at 314-302-5743, text me, or text Edith at 314-920-3990 and say, hey, I need you for 5 minutes to fill out this claim form. Might be more than 5 minutes, but we're there to support you and help you. And so is GTL. You can call their customer service too. And then here is what the claim form looks like with, and that's just the front page, with the precision cancer. So with that, I know everyone wanted that information immediately and upfront. But before we go into the plans, I will just let you know that when you receive your plan, this is what you're looking for in the mail. You'll probably be looking for this big packet that says JBA. Well, Diane, who's JBA? Jberg and Associates is the company that I write the GTL products through. So this is your packet. And then inside here it says, thank you for being a GTL policyholder. It has a copy of your policy in full. And then it also has my information, my address here in Creve Coeur at the JBA office. My office is within there. And you can then call and say, hey, I got my packet. And there's usually a little love note in there too, telling you how much we love you and how much we love the people that you love. So we can do more business with all of those folks that you love. And that's what's led us to all the 29 states, right? Definitely. So at this point in time, I'm going to let Edith go and get these 6 apps in right now for GTL. And now Michael Gende, like Wendy, we are going to talk to, and he is going to tell us about our 3 favorite products that we all need to have. We have the short-term home health care. This is this version right now. There's been a couple different versions. And then we also have the Advantage Plus Elite. And we're talking about particularly the state of Missouri. There's a map of the United States as to where products are available. So I can always let you know if you're in a different state, what products would be available to you. And then also the Precision Cancer Plan. And that Precision Cancer Plan has also been popular. So with that, these brochures are available online, and they also will be available on my website at dianeinsuranceSTL.com. Again, that's Diane, Diane, InsuranceSTL.com. Okay, Michael, I know why everybody needs this, but you tell me your opinion of why everyone in America needs this plan when they can get it, when they age in.
Absolutely. Be happy to, Diane. Let me also, though, say to everybody listening in that, Diane and Edith, they go above and beyond what the average insurance agent does in that they are helping you file your claims. And I got to tell you that is a tremendous service going above and beyond what you need to do. And so Anybody that is a client of yours, I must say congratulations because you've got a top-notch agent. And also, here's something that I'm a big believer in. When I find somebody that I like the way they do business, I always want to refer all of my friends and family and other people that I run into to that person because it's like, you know what? In today's day and age, finding somebody that goes above and beyond, and they're not getting paid to go above and beyond, they're just doing it because they're a good person, which is what you're doing, Diane.
Thanks.
Man, oh
You're a
man.
good
Yeah.
person too, man, for
Thank
being
you.
on this
But
call.
we recognize each other in that. But I'm just a big believer in, man, anything you can do to help your friends be able to deal with Diane because they will be so happy that they did. So whenever you get the
Thank
chance,
you.
please refer your friends and family over to Diane. So
Thanks so much.
absolutely. Okay, so our home health care plan is designed. It's what I really say is I ask people, and I say this, I say, you know, everybody wishes that they had a long-term care plan.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it gets very expensive, and a lot of people, most people can't afford a long-term care plan. And those that can, they very well may not even be able to qualify. So this plan here, this short-term home health care plan, is designed to give you the opportunity when you have a medical incident or an accident, but when you have an incident that has caused you to become unable to perform at least two of your six activities of daily living, or if you've become cognitively impaired, and then you decide that, hey, I want to recuperate in my own home rather than go into a skilled nursing facility. This is a plan that costs very, very little by the time you figure in the prescription drug benefit that goes with it automatically. But this is a plan that can pay you up to $450 per day for up to 360 days so that you can have professional services, nurses, therapists, etc., come into your home and perform and do the duties that they do. And it also has a prescription drug benefit built into it where you can get paid $10 for every generic prescription, $25 for every brand name prescription and refills, so that up to $300, $600, or $900 per year, depending upon what level plan you choose. And that prescription drug benefit, that goes into effect immediately. So you buy this plan today, tomorrow you go to Walmart and have a prescription filled, guess what? That's covered where you can get paid $10 or $25 for that prescription. And it does not matter to us or to the plan whether that prescription costs you any money out of your own pocket. You may have a good plan that's already covering all your prescriptions. This is additional money that you're going to be paid directly after you file the claim. And filing the claim with Diane is very, very easy. Basically, what
You
we
just go through the
recommend,
drive-through, click,
yeah,
click. There's a
exactly.
picture.
We recommend call your pharmacist once a year. This is what is called this is a plan that begins when the month you buy the plan, and then it runs for 12 months. So say you buy it in, well, this is January. Let's say you buy it in January. So now it runs January through December. So what I recommend is every January, every February, every March, you know, within a few months after the start of your plan, the anniversary date of your plan, call your pharmacist and ask your pharmacist to print you out all the prescriptions that you received during that 12-month period. And then literally all you do is fill out the claim form, which is super simple, name, address, policy number, and mail it in to GTL Diane and send a copy to Diane, or mail it in to Diane and she'll take it
Or
from there.
drop by the office, bring us cookies. You know, we love that.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly.
That happened yesterday.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So the other thing that I want to point out is that the receipt, a lot of people, a lot of my clients are like, Diane, my prescriptions drugs, they don't cost anything. They cost zero. And I said, GTL just wants to see the receipt. They just want to see that that medication was $0. And then they will see that you're taking the medication and that was a generic medication and it's worth $10 back to you. And that's usually when people are in a state of shock, that they get that money back. The other thing that I want to point out is that within that band of services, the way that I understand it, so Michael, correct me if I'm incorrect. The band of services, when you look at care for your home at up to $450 a day, it can include a skilled nurse, an RN, LPN. It can include physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. It can include a social worker that can do a plan of care. And we'll talk about that benefit in a second. And then it also has the caveat for custodial care. And it has the longest amount of custodial care that I've been able to find in the industry for short-term home health care. So if a person has $450 a day and the short-term plan lasts for 360 days, it's one where that custodial care, and correct me if I'm wrong, it could be up to $150 of that $450 benefit for 360 days.
Yes.
And that's the part that's amazing because people don't realize when they look at the Medicare plans, it says, oh, home health care is covered. Folks, 100% of zero is still 100%. So, but it's not zero. Typically, and what we see that Medicare is providing across the country is Medicare will say, okay, you need home health care, not home care. Home care is custodial care. That's that person that can help you bathe and dress and also make meals for you. Also, they could provide some transportation for you back and forth to appointments. That's the person that really allows you to be successful at home. So it's very important with a GTL policy that when you're in the hospital, you explain to the hospital social worker that you have an in-home care policy that provides custodial care. Because that will let that social worker at the hospital know that you're going to be successful when you go home and when you arrive home. Because the social worker at the hospital does not want you to boomerang back. If you boomerang back, for the same reason, for the same episode of care, that hospital is not paid. So they want you to be successful at home so that you can go home, or their first choice to you might be, let's send you to rehab, where you might actually thrive at home. So, and most people do when you look at all of the numbers and the data. So make sure that social worker knows that you have a home care policy that includes custodial care. And this is where Edith and I also go the distance. And Michael, you already know this.
Yes.
When you are in that hospital, that is an SOS to us. That is that text where you say SOS, I'm in the hospital. And then Edith and I will give you several different home health care and home care companies that have been trained in the ways of GTL. They're familiar with that company. They're familiar with the types of coverage that they can receive. And, excuse me. Lady from Marketplace. I don't have an appointment. I just have this right now. No, you purchased something or you're to buy something? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. Come right here. Oh,
We
thank
made a
you.
plan a week and a half ago.
Oh,
I
okay.
messaged you last night and I was like, well, I'll just come by anyway.
Oh, okay. I need to Venmo you.
That's fine.
Okay,
You can
okay.
just text me later.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Sorry, you guys.
There's an example of Diane taking care of customers, you guys.
Multitasking. Oh my gosh.
Stopping
Yes.
what she's doing to take care of her customers.
Well, actually, this is to get ready to go down to a conference for women in insurance and Producers Unlimited. It's a group of women of 1,000 producers that are in insurance, and we're all getting together in Austin, Texas. So it's what I need to bring to the conference so I can add it to one of my presentations. Anyway, so I digress. So I was telling you about how important it is to communicate with that social worker in the hospital and let them know that you have home health care, and how important it is that you let us know that you're in there so we can share with you some of the other referred and preferred partners that we have in home health care so that they can call you within 24 to 48 hours, sometimes meet you at the hospital and design that plan of care, or use that social worker benefit to send the social worker to the hospital and design that plan of care. Even if you have kids on this coast or that coast, that particular social worker that's not affiliated with the hospital can give you information that no one else can give you because they're not bound to just only the hospital partnerships. They're able to tell you what other resources you have. It set up Meals on Wheels, for example, or access other benefits from your Medicare plan. That social worker is such a wonderful, wonderful component. It made all the difference for my dad. Michael, thank you so much. When dad was receiving care. Oh my goodness. He said, Diane, where'd you get this policy? I said, from this guy named Michael. Anyway, so I digress. So hopefully we covered the home health care piece.
One last thing, though, that we should mention about the home healthcare piece, because here at GTL, we want to make sure that you, the policyholder, is going to get everything that you're supposed to get. And there is one more piece to it. That is the $3,500 T-Care plan. And what that means is,
Oh, yes. Amazing.
yes, go ahead, Diane.
No, you tell it. You
Okay,
tell it.
here's what that is. That's an extra $3,500 that we will write out to the policyholder once they have been under care at home. And they typically, everybody's going to have a caregiver. It might be a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter, a neighbor, best friend, whatever
An
it may be.
unpaid caregiver.
An unpaid caregiver, exactly.
The designated person.
Yes. And that creates a whole bunch of stress on the situation. And so what we at GTL have found that we interview the caregiver and we find out that, yeah, you know what, this is a stressful situation. They've been doing it for a couple of months. We're going to then send $3,500 to the policyholder. And then what the policyholder can do with that money, here's what it's designed for, is that let's say my dad is I'm driving 30 miles a day to take care of him every day, stopping in for an hour, blah, 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 blah. One day I stop in and there's five $100 bills sitting on the kitchen table, fanned out. And I go, Dad, what's this money for? And he goes, that's for you, son. And I go, well, what do you mean? He goes, because you've been helping me out so much. And I'm like, no, 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 no. He goes, look, you're spending time away from your family. You're spending time on gas, car repairs. Take that money. It's for you. Well, thank you so much. I go home. I give that to my wife. All of a sudden, my wife is now like, oh, you know what? That was so kind of your dad to do that. And it reduces the stress that I, as the unpaid caregiver, am under. Now, that happens again the next week. The next week, you know, it happens every other week for 14 weeks. Well, however you do it, but it makes a huge difference in the stress of everybody involved in that situation. And believe you me, when we can reduce the stress of the patient, they're going to recover that much faster. Right, Diane?
And they feel so much like they're in control because when you're receiving home health care, you just feel like you're losing control. And when you are able to thank someone and graciously give that to the person that is giving to you, it asserts your not only your confidence, but again, your ability to be in control of your own life and making decisions and financial decisions. That is such a positive thing to have someone experience. We experienced it with dad. And so it was just with the Medicare that he receives. Most people are only going to receive a 21-day episode with Medicare, and you have to be homebound. So dad was, and then he had physical therapy twice a week for about 28 minutes. He did have an occupational therapist come out, but his fine motor movement was okay, so they didn't need to come out again. And then he had a nurse come out at the beginning and open up his case, and then they came out at the end. But that nurse didn't have to come out in the middle of the case because dad wasn't receiving wound care or an infusion. So, but what we were so surprised with the GTL policy was we had everything categorized out every day that they had come out through the medical, through Medicare, and through the home health program. And when we sent that into GTL, we were paid for those days as if dad had actually hired them himself. He was so surprised when he got a check, and he said to me, and he didn't fan out the money. He said, "Honey, is this your money?" And I said, "No, Dad, that's your money." And what we were able to do at that point was decide with that money that came back from the Medicare, being reimbursed for those Medicare visits, we were able to hire more hours for the home health aide. And that's when we said, okay, we're going to have that home health aide take you back and forth to appointments so that I'm not doing that, because I didn't feel comfortable getting dad in and out of the car, having, no, medical background, because I'm not a doctor and I don't want to play one on TV. And so, but that was a game changer for us, getting those hours and being able to have that money, because the policy is an indemnity. That means that it's paid, the money is paid to you directly. It is one where that money is set up for you to be able to make the decisions, for you to have that confidence. And I just love that, because it's not a direct type of thing and an assignment. It's one where you still remain in control, or your family member can remain in control, however you have that set up. So thank you. That's what I'm trying to say, is thank you. From the bottom of my heart. It made a huge difference. So
You know what, Diane, it all comes down to your clients have to say, you know what, this makes sense. I am going to enroll in it. And then
right,
we
right.
get to pay them a whole bunch of money.
It's amazing. So, with that in mind, let's transition over to the hospital indemnity. So, there's been a lot of versions of this. I mean, this is the newest, the latest and greatest version in Missouri. And oh my goodness, the Advantage Plus Elite. And I think it has the word advantage in there because it's supposed to partner with an Advantage plan. But my goodness, you can go much, much earlier in life and create something that's going to partner even with an under 65 plan. But most of the clients that are going to be watching this are over 65. They've earned their Medicare, they've earned all of their benefits with Medicare. And so clients will say, well, why would I want to have even more? And so if you have an Advantage plan, there are gaps in the Advantage plan, and they're set up to where you have set copays that you have to pay if you go into the hospital, if you go into rehab, if you ride in an ambulance, if you have an outpatient surgery, if you have physical therapy, or if you have occupational therapy, or even if you go to the chiropractor, there are copays. And a lot of people don't like the copays. And so I say, well, star the ones you don't like, and then let's layer another protection over it and just see if you like that, if you feel like it's worth the money. So now I'm going to have you expound on that.
And the biggest part is the when you go into the hospital, you've got a daily copay for, and Diane, what's like the average daily copay in your area
It's
on a
anywhere
Medicare plan?
from about 270 to 380 in the
Okay.
St. Louis area.
And is that for 5 or 6 or 7 days on
About
average?
average is 7 days,
Okay.
depending upon the
So
plan. I have 9 companies for
yes.
Medicare Advantage in this area.
But
Mhm.
let's just say $300 for 7 days. So what that means is you go into the hospital, and first of all, here's a statistic that I found fascinating when I first heard about it. And that is somebody who is 65 and older, the average number of days when they go into the hospital, they're in for 5.2 days. Okay, so we'll just
5.2. Oh my
5.2.
goodness.
We'll just round that down to 5 days. So that means you go into the hospital and your copay is $300 per day. You can expect that you're going to have to write out a check of your hard earned money for $1,500 when you go into the hospital. And that is just for the hospital stay, not any other gaps that the Medicare Advantage plan has. So for that one benefit alone, I highly recommend the plan. And Diane will set you up where she will set your benefit at $50 over what you're paying. So every day you go into the hospital, not only will it pay for your copay, but it will put an extra $50 into your pocket. And the average cost of the plan is like $1 a day. So in the long run, hopefully you don't go into the hospital for 2-3 years, but then when you do, all of a sudden you're ahead of the ball game. And as we get older, our days in the hospital are going to increase dramatically. And here's what's real nice about this plan. You can buy the plan from age 40 all the way up through age 85. But once you have the plan, you can keep it forever. Here's what's so powerful about it, though. Whatever age you are when you first enroll in the plan, that is the age that we consider you to always be. In other words, your
Forever
premium,
young.
yeah, forever young, exactly. The only way that your premium would go up as you get older would be if we had a rate increase. And let me tell you this, we invented this plan 21 years ago. And in the 21 years, we have never had a rate increase, and we do not anticipate
Thank
ever having a
goodness.
rate increase. All we end up doing, because the plan performs so well for our clients, we've added extra benefits over the years to make the plan even more robust for the clients. But for that one benefit alone, your daily hospital copay, this plan makes sense. And you'll see time and time again where not only does it pay for itself, but it puts you way ahead of the ball game. And then Diane will do what she just talked about. She'll show you all the different additional riders, and you'll choose which ones are important to you, and then she'll protect you with those. But this is a plan that I truly recommend that every single person that has a Medicare Advantage plan needs this hospital indemnity plan. We are the best one out there. And like Diane had said earlier when we were recording, we pay our claims. We pay our claims
Yeah.
quickly, and that is what makes this plan so powerful. There's other companies out there where, boy, it's so hard to get any money out of them. And that's not why you buy insurance. You buy insurance so that when you need it, you actually get paid.
Yes.
Diane, I will say this for your clients. When you're checking out of the hospital, request the Universal Billing 04 form. It's called the UB04 form. Request that when you're checking out, because that is about the only piece of paperwork that Diane needs to file the claim for you is the UB04 form. Just request it. They don't give it out automatically. You have to request it, but it's got everything on it that we need. And our goal at GTL is to get you your money ASAP. We want to get you your money within a week, week and a half of you getting out of you filing your claim.
Yes. And it's funny, the UB04 form, a lot of people call it the UBO form, 04 form. So I have started to call it the stinky form. And they're like, how do I remember that, Diane? And I'm like, you have BO forever. That's gross.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
And they always remember, I got to get that stinky form. Yeah, you got to get the stinky form. So, but you do. And just yesterday, we had called GTL and they said there was a client that wanted to send in for a physical therapy reimbursement. And they now have, and I didn't know this, maybe it's new, maybe it's always been there, but it's a UBO4 form for physical therapy.
Oh,
And
wow.
so,
Okay. I did
yeah,
not know that.
I didn't either. So, but the interesting thing is, you can just go. I mean, our technology is amazing. It's amazes me at our fingertips. You just go into Google and you can Google it and put UBO4 form hospital, and then boom, it's there. If you don't have a copy of it from billing, and then you can take it to billing and have them fill it out, or you can actually go UBO4 form physical therapy like we did yesterday, and we sent it straight to the client and said it'll look like this, so they know what they're looking for, which is wonderful. But you can help yourself and fish and go find it too. So the one of the things that I will mention is that oftentimes people will say to me, Diane, I'm healthy. I don't need this plan. I'm not unhealthy yet. And I tell them, you've got to be healthy to get most insurance. You can't just time it. It's not something that you can say, I'm going to go to the hospital next week. Okay, I'm ready to get this policy. It doesn't work like that. So what I've done with a lot of clients, they remember that we try and cover all the averages, the cost of what it is for the copay with a little bit more money in there in case there's an increase in the future. And then we cover the other main things, the rehab stay, as well as the ambulance copay and the outpatient copay. And then we always look at the physical therapy copay. And so typically, when you look at all of that, even if it didn't happen for 10 years, when you extrapolate the cost of the premium by month, times it by 12, and then times it by the 10 years. So the cost per month times by 12 months times 10 years. And then you look at the amount of money that can come to you in all of those categories. So if you're 65 and now you're 75, and then 10 years later you would be 85, and you do the math, you are always, always, always ahead of the money that is coming to you as the benefit towards the money that you've put into the plan. That is the way I like to insure.
And Diane, let me say this to share with your clients in that, because sometimes people are like, well, we just talked about that home healthcare plan where with the prescription drug plan, they're going to, the plan almost costs them nothing. And people will be like, well, how can the insurance company make money? So the way that an insurance company makes money, it's not necessarily like, okay, on this hospital indemnity plan that we're talking about, we sell it for X number, but we make this amount of profit because they only collect this amount. No, it's not. It's more typical, like with our hospital indemnity plan, that they collect way more than they ever pay in for premium. So then, well, how do we make our money? We make our money on the usage of that premium. Like this is a company, GTL is about 300 employees. And if you look up our financials, it's almost $1 billion in assets.
Mhm.
Those $1 billion in assets are invested in secure investments. And so the money we're making on that gives us the ability to literally have an insurance policy like what we've talked about, where, hey, over time, the client is going to collect more than they've paid in. So,
Exactly. And so let's talk about the generosity of GTL. And I can remember going into the office with Bob Berg, and mom had just passed with cancer. And I went into Bob's office, and you were in the other room, and you were giving the presentation to all of our agents. And so when that senior business that most of my senior business is through, which is J. Berg and Associates, it was one where when we all get into the room, there's over 600 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a daunting room, and you're always challenged. I know everyone is. Anybody who speaks is like, "Ooh, can we dissect this?" You're laughing, So
Yes,
you were in
yes.
the other room, and you were laughing, and Bob says, "Hey, Di, you got to go in and hear this. You got to go hear Michael." And I said, "What is he talking about today?" He goes, "Diane, it's a cancer plan." And I said, I don't want to talk about that. It was too close
Right?
because mom had just passed. And so with cancer. And so Bob said, "No, go in, go in." He said, this plan gives you hope. And I said, "Bob, how can a cancer plan give you hope?" He said, "That's what I want you to find out. Go in." And I did. And I sat in the back of the room, and you showed how this precision cancer plan came about. And folks, I want you to know that they are the only company with their precision cancer plan that partners with TGen, which is a lab out in Phoenix, Arizona. Ooh, did I do some research? And I didn't know that John and Cindy McCain did their cancer journey through TGen. I had no idea that PetSmart was on the board for TGen. I had no idea Mayo Clinic was on the board with TGen. And so this plan partners with Mayo Clinic. It also partners with TGen, and it goes in above and beyond what Medicare can do for someone who has a diagnosis of cancer. So it was the point that you said, Diane, and everyone in the room, and you were so kind. And I think Bob might have told you that mom had just passed because you were so kind in your delivery. And you said Medicare will only test for cancer at stages 3 and 4 for 400 genomes. And you said that GTL's precision cancer would test 19,000 genomes. And in a vernacular way of me to be able to understand that, and everyone in the room, you said no one has to guinea pig their cancer journey and receive information about their body that hasn't been scientifically backed up. And that is when I said, Bob was right. And I listened to every word that you said, and it is tremendous. So please share more in detail about this
Yes.
plan.
I
This is
will.
so important for people to have, and it's so affordable. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
it's a
I will
pizza.
make it, I will make it real simple. So the facts, Diane, are that 1 out of every 2 men will come down with cancer at some point in their lifetime. 1 out of every 3 women will come down with cancer at some point in their lifetime. And when they do, it is, as you know, it's just it's devastating, and your whole world gets turned upside down. And hey, I'm super healthy. I would like to say, oh, I'm never going to get cancer, except that I'm a relatively intelligent person, and I know that, man, I have a 50% chance of getting cancer. And so when I do get it, I want to be able to fight it and have my best chances of surviving it. So, what this plan does, first of all, it will pay the client, the policyholder, up to $50,000 cash. Boom, right then and there, depending upon how much they sign up for to begin with. But then, even more, and that is tremendously helpful because it's a huge financial strain when you get cancer. But what it really also does is it is gives you the ability to get genomic sequencing done on the cancer cells that you've got. Here's how we determine cancer. Somebody goes in for their annual physical, their PSA numbers are high, they find a tumor, and the doctor says, hey, you know what? We need to go in and cut a biopsy, a piece of that tumor out, and we'll send it out. So they cut a biopsy off, say it's just the size of a baby fingernail. And then a slice of that biopsy gets sent out to determine if it's cancerous. The rest of that biopsy goes to a medical storage facility. It's actually stored for 5 years. So it comes back and you find out you've got invasive cancer. So the client immediately notifies GTL and we say, okay, boom, we're getting you a check right away. Might be 20, 30, $40,000, depending upon what you signed up for. We get that to you within days. But then what we also do is we then order from the medical storage facility at another slice of that biopsy, and we have that sent out to TGen, which stands for Translational Genomics Research Institute. And it is, as Diane
Say that
said,
10 times fast.
yes, exactly. It's actually a world-renowned medical research facility, not only cancer, but diabetes and everything else they're researching. And they're going to then genomically sequence to determine what are the mutated marker cells of that particular strain of cancer. And so what you're doing is you're getting a second opinion also on your
Right,
cancer diagnosis,
right.
which is so important. But this second opinion is even more important because then the oncology experts at TGen, they're going to call you, the policyholder, and also your doctor, and let you know what they say is the best way to fight this particular strain of cancer. What happens is that people, when they get cancer, one way of fighting it is the GPA, general population approach to fighting cancer, which is, as we talked about, Diane, they cut the cancer out and then they blast your body with toxic amounts of chemotherapy and radiation because that's the best we know. Well, for years, actually, genomic sequencing has been around, and the wealthy that have been able to go to the Mayo Clinic, MD Anderson, Sloan Kettering, and that, the reason why they go there is they've been using genomic sequencing for a long time. Well, now we're bringing it to the masses so that everybody can have it. And so once you go through genomic sequencing, here's what could very well a diagnosis could be. Okay, we're still cutting the cancer out. We want to cut that out. But now, instead of, instead of this much chemotherapy, we just want to use this amount, a tiny amount of it. Same thing with radiation. And then we want this 4-drug cocktail. So the collateral damage is reduced significantly, collateral damage inside the body.
Yes,
That
yes.
also, yes. And that also gives your body the ability to concentrate on the drugs that it's getting and fighting the cancer rather than just trying to fight some of the collateral damage. People that go through genomic sequencing and follow it typically live 2 to 3 times longer after diagnosis than somebody who just goes through the general population
I
approach
did
to
not
fighting
know
cancer.
that. That is
It's huge.
amazing.
Yes. But here's the thing. You got to sign up for it before you get cancer. Okay.
Right. And the other thing I was going to say too, that's eye-opening is, now we are seeing that this influx and this push towards with Medicare because the different agencies and the carriers, they actually, it's really the carrier can see what they are going to be spending. The emphasis has been on the HMO, not
Right.
the PPO. And
Mm-hmm.
so with an HMO, you are then, you have your quarterback is your primary, and then your primary is referring to other doctors. So if you want to get a second opinion outside the network, you are probably paying more for that visit than you would for possibly 6 months of a premium on the plan. That had not ever occurred to me. That's amazing. They need that second opinion because they do provide some the counseling, and they provide this idea of how you can actually withstand some of the ways that we have, the traditional ways we've tried to handle this. I just think of my mom, and I remember sitting there in that initial class, and my gosh, since then, Michael, you've learned so much. I always learn so much from you. Is that I remember sitting there thinking, I know that mom had a problem with a statin drug and her chemotherapy. For whatever reason, there was some kind of, mix in that cocktail that wasn't right for her, and it resulted in neuropathy that was irreversible. And I just remember sitting in that class, and I'm still thinking of that today, of if mom would have had that, if this would have been available, and it wasn't available until after she passed, that she
Hmm.
probably wouldn't have suffered. She might not have suffered that neuropathy that was just pins and needles on her extremities, just awful. So, gosh, this is so important. And the statistic, and I'm thinking environmentally, is that what it is? There's a lot of people will say, oh, my parents, they didn't have cancer, so I'm not worried about it. I think it's the environment in which we live. We cannot run away from it. You know,
You are spot on. I come from a large family, so I have four brothers, three sisters. Two of my brothers have had cancer or battling it.
sorry,
So
so
that's two
sorry.
out of, that's 2 out of 5, and two out of my three sisters have had cancer and surgeries, and one's battling it now. So it's
Oh, I'm so
those
sorry.
numbers aren't, yeah, those aren't pie in the sky. Those are real numbers. And when you think about it,
Hmm.
who do you know that's battled cancer? Man, we all know so many people. And as we get older,
Hmm.
our chances of getting cancer just increase exponentially.
Right, right, absolutely. And so this particular plan, I tell people all the time, let's make it a cost of a pizza.
Hmm.
Can
Right,
you
right,
afford one less pizza in a month? You can
right.
do this.
Yes, yes.
It doesn't, and I will tell them the commission does not change my life, but the money
No,
that comes to you is going to change yours.
absolutely. Yes. So
That's
true.
why I show it to everybody. I'm like, we have to have one more conversation. And
Yes.
I tell them, I'm like, even if you don't like the conversation of cancer, the conversation of how much it gives you for your life and the people around you that love you, and to give them hope and to give them more time with you, because that is what everybody wants. They want to know, how much time do I have? And then they want to extend that time. And with that data that you shared, that your life can be extended through genomic sequencing, that's just unbelievable. But it's true. You're telling it. So
Yep. But you have to sign up for it.
you've got to sign up for it.
Absolutely.
You can't just think
Yep.
about it. That's the thing. Someone will say, Diane, can you send me a quote? I'm like, no, I'd rather send you the solution.
Yes. Well, here, I always say this, Diane, when somebody says, hey, well, let me just think about this, whether I get this cancer plan or not. I explain to them, I say, here's what happens is, okay, I'll leave this quote with you and the brochure. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that brochure and you're going to put it in the bottom desk drawer. And you're going to plan on thinking about it, but you never will. And then one day you will go get back from your physical from your doctor and you'll find out that you've got cancer. And then you'll remember, oh, I've got that plan, that brochure in my bottom drawer. You'll pull it out then, and then you'll call me and you'll say, hey, Michael, can I buy the cancer plan now? And then I'll say, unfortunately, you can't. You're not eligible for it now. And so that's why I say, this is not one of those things where, hey, I need to think about it. No, this is one of those things where you need to get signed up for it, get enrolled in the plan right away so that you're protected. Down the line, if you say, oh, you know what, I'm going to cancel it, you can always cancel it. But the thing is, you can't always sign up for it. And
Right,
if we don't do it
right,
when it's in front of
right.
us, we don't do it. And then we always regret
Correct.
it. We say, oh my gosh, why didn't I do that?
Yes,
Yes.
it's so true. I said to a client the other day who's been a friend of mine for, oh my goodness, 20 years. So, the joke is, once you meet me, you're my friend for life. And it's
Nice.
true. I have friends from like the time I was 3 years old that are still in my life.
Mm.
In fact, I
That's
just
the
talked
type
to
of
them
good
like,
person you are, though.
oh my gosh. Well, thank you. I mean, people are important. It's that relationship that's important. And
Yeah.
it was funny. I looked at this friend and she said, Diane, this is just ridiculous. My mom hasn't had cancer. My dad hasn't had cancer. I'm just a healthy person. I said, it's a pizza. And she goes, Diane, really? And I said, okay, I'm going to get real with you. And I said, I would rather you hate me if we ever ended our friendship. You would hate me because I sold you the plan instead of you hate me because I didn't.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
she said, really? I said, because I know now that we've had this conversation, I'm going to be the first phone call, whether you have cancer or you don't have cancer. And I said, so when you find out that you have cancer, do you want the plan or not? And she said, okay, you're right. You're right. You're right. But sometimes people think that while you're having a conversation about your health, you're bringing it on, that you would get it. And I'm like, no, this is preparedness. Just like you would, put an oil change into your car. You're not going to drive your car around town and just not put oil in it. It's going to stop. It's not going to work. I said, this is the same philosophy. You're preparing yourself and you're making sure that it doesn't change your life financially, but when you would face it, it would help you have a better life and the lives around you would be better for it. That's the purpose of insurance. And she looked at me and she goes, you have been doing this for 30 years.
It's so true, though. So true.
Since I was in diapers.
Yeah.
So anyway, so tell me a little bit more. We've talked about these three products. I really want to give you an opportunity to say, Diane, your clients might want to look at this product, and this product, because we specialize in the home health care, in the Advantage Plus plan for the hospital indemnity and the precision cancer. What else might want to wet their whistle on?
So there's a couple plans that would be good ones to look at. And one plan is called the Recover Cash Plan. And what that is designed for is a nursing home stay, not a long-term nursing home, but a nursing home stay. So your clients could take a look at that. Another one is if your client has no life insurance, we have a plan. It's called a final expense plan, Heritage Life, where they can get up to $25,000 of life insurance. Super easy to qualify, almost guaranteed issue. And it's designed for somebody who, hey, we have no life insurance. Well, we know we're all going to die. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to leave a $10,000, $15,000 bill for our kids to have to endure because we passed away without any life insurance. And we didn't have any because we're like, maybe our health is not great. We just felt we couldn't afford it, whatever it may be. But that is a plan that let's make sure that everybody has some life insurance because we know for sure it's going to pay off.
Right.
100%. Yes.
Absolutely. We kind of learned that when Dad passed, that when we went to the funeral home, they said, if you want that particular date for your dad's homegoing and his funeral, you need to stroke the check right now. And it was for $7,000.
Wow.
And we knew that Dad had an account, but we also knew it was tied up at that time. And so my brother looked at me, my sister looked at me and said, we don't have that kind of cash. You run a business. Why don't you stroke the check? And then when it all, works out, we'll pay you back. I thought, oh my gosh, I've heard that since I was a child.
Right? Yes. Heard that since you were 3 years old.
Why am I always that sibling?
Yeah, yes. Yes.
So I stroked the check, and then I talked to, of course, the funeral directors, and they have several at that particular location. And I said, y'all, if Dad would have had a final expense plan, would I have just been able to give you that particular account, and you would have just been able to know that that was going to pay you directly? And they said yes. And I
Yes.
thought, okay, time for me to get a final expense plan. And so
Mhm.
it was this that much easier. And I thought, my gosh, it's financial anonymity when you have that taken care of. Plus, you're not putting another family member in a spot like that. And then, so you see all the time people on, a Facebook page or, online that are saying, GoFundMe account or what have you. And I just think, gosh, there's an easier way to do this. And that's the easier way with the heritage.
For sure.
Thank you. I think we'll be having lots of conversations about that, my
There we
friend.
go. There we go.
All right. So tell me again, how many years has GTL been in business?
Since 1936, this is kind of interesting. So Rick Holson the first started GTL in Chicago in 1936. He ran it for many years. Then Rick Holson the second took over, ran it for many years. And our current president and CEO is Rick Holson the third, who I think Rick is 71 years old, young and energetic. And then Rick Holson the fourth, who is known as Rush, is our vice president of sales. So it's a family-run company, about 300 employees, and literally every single day when we come into the office, our goal is to take care of our customers. And we have two customers. Those are our policy holders and our agents. And we make sure that they are both taken care of. And we take care of our policy holders real simply by paying claims and paying it very quickly and not having a bunch of hoops to jump through.
I
You know,
love it. I love
and,
it.
and you know how we take care of our agents?
Pay those claims.
Yes. And here's how we take care of our agents by paying the claims of the policyholders because you want to know that your people are taken care of. Your people are our people. Yes.
That's right. That's right.
It's a
You
simple
got it,
business
Michael.
plan. It's a simple business plan. Exactly. And do what you say you're going to do, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Just
They
like
keep
what
on
you do,
coming up
Diane.
with wonderful policies. Oh my gosh.
Yes, yes,
Just,
yes.
just amazing. It's just amazing. I'm so glad for the success of GTL. And it is because it's all cyclical. We're all synergistically woven into that success
Mm-hmm.
model. And
Mm-hmm.
it really is wonderful to see your enthusiasm every time for the plans and for the support that you give to us. And I'm so excited for my clients to know who you are because I referenced you when I talked to them about these different plans and some of the things that you've said and the stories that you've shared. Oh my gosh, they're just transcendent. And it does move people to make that decision to say, yes, I do want to have this insurance in my back pocket when that time comes. And GTL is one of those that, oh my goodness, it is my goal to make sure that everybody has it. I tell everybody in America needs to have this one.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I thank you so much. So that'll wrap up everything. And then I will send you a link and I'll see you again a little bit later on this afternoon at 2 o'clock when we join some other clients and we go in for an even deeper dive.
Look forward to seeing you later. Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much. All right. Take care.
Namaste. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.